If you only want your AI to use your content, that is a toggle inside Coachvox. Definitely have that toggled on. And then what I would do is if you notice that anything comes up, then go into your training data and search it. Search that word and see if there's anything there that comes up. Because if it's toggled on, it shouldn't be using anything else. We take that very seriously because we have coaches using it as like an internal tool where it's really important that it follows their processes. But we have found it before that you might have uploaded something that something's just snuck in and then it's sharing something that isn't that you didn't want it to share as the teaching. So if you give your AI all your strong beliefs on a certain topic, it will use that to deduce what you would think about another topic, but it's going to try and be very sure before it does that. The time to start the alpha test is when you are sure that all 4 of your starter prompts are covered in terms of content. And why that is because you can tell your alpha testers to talk to your AI about those things, and that will give you a really good idea on how it's trained on the basic level of knowledge, and they'll be able to do that. They'll be able to kind of put it through its paces on those things, and then you could say to them, talk to it about other stuff, and then see how it handles that. I would share it with 5 to 15 people. Tell them to, you could tell them to break it. It depends what your friends, colleagues are like. They will come out with stuff that you never realised that anyone would ask it about, and then you'll have stories, you'll have things to share, and then you will see everything that they said. You will be able to train your AI further on stuff that you want it to know about, that they asked about, that you hadn't covered yet. But more importantly than that is the commentary. And the fact that you can get testimonials, because those testimonials are so unbelievably golden for getting more people to do it as well. We have this quite a lot with our coaches who they want everything to be perfect before they launch it to a group. But if you're saying, try it out, it's not perfect yet, it's designed to help people with this topic, how well does it fulfill that brief? Then they will be compassionate with their testing, and they'll do it you want people who are friendly guides and mentors rather than movie critics. The moment you see one and you think, oh, no one's ever asked me that anymore, what you'll probably find is that you then think, oh, I've got this piece of content that perfectly relates to that, and then you know what to upload, and then it means that it's not such a big job uploading everything because you can hone in on the stuff that people have actually asked it. Yeah, that would be really good. How you include you referencing other people's stuff is, I would think about it just in terms of how you would have a normal conversation. If someone asked you about a topic that you were really passionate about, your response would just be, oh yeah, I actually read something about that. There's this McKinsey study that says this, and this is cool. I like this statistic because actually I found that. Your AI could just deliver that information just as you would. The only thing that would be a problem is if you uploaded someone else's textbook to your AI, because then it wouldn't really know, but because it's going to be your words and your references to the other stuff, then I think it'll be really good. It'll give really valuable information. All the content tools we build are with that in mind. It's not AI generated content, it's your AI generated content, in that it comes from your information. Most people using ChatGPT, Claude, any AI tools, they haven't got their own information. They haven't got their own proprietary content. They're just using all the stuff on the internet to create their stuff. But why yours will be good is because you've actually got the stuff to put in, and that's so different because it means it won't be generic. The more fundamental you are about your beliefs, the better the output will be. The stronger you are with what you put in, the stronger what comes out will be, always, because ChatGPT was trained on over 300 billion words, and all the strong opinions, they just cancel each other out, and what's left is this watery middle, which is very like when you sit an exam at school and you don't know the answer and you just completely blag it. But yours won't be like that because you've got your strong stuff, your strong opinions in there. When you use the content tools, when you complete the fields, be fundamental about your beliefs, be very kind of all or nothing, and be very it should be like this and it shouldn't be like this, and almost talk in extremes so that it knows what you strongly believe. Inside all the prompts and things that we use in Coachvox, we include things like a ban list of words and terms we don't want your content to have in it. We include our own, the structure should be like this. So you've kind of got all our prompting knowledge inside the tool behind the scenes going on. And if you ever get content where you're like, oh, I don't like this for this reason, keep the feedback loop coming so that we can improve them all the time. And then after that, I would say AI content detectors don't work. They just don't. Someone uploaded the Declaration of Independence to an AI content detector, and it came back as like 98% AI generated. No one knows. No one knows anything. SEO professional, she shared it, And then I wrote a post about it. And then it was quite funny that someone actually wrote in the comments the prompt that could have created the Declaration of Independence. It was like, write me a official document that talks about this and this and this happening, end with a flourish or something like that. And it was like, it was quite funny to kind of reverse engineer it. The moral of the story is AI content detectors do not work. There's not really a way of telling. I think the best way of just operating in general is just only publish stuff that you would be happy to put your name behind, whether it's AI generated or your AI generated. You're not trying to trick your audience, you're trying to deliver value to your audience, and you're trying to do it in a way that maintains your reputation. So if you can figure out a way of using AI to produce reams and reams of content that is really amazing, like 100% do it. But the moment you think, I'm not going to put that out there, then don't. I think you always have to have the human say on whether you'd be proud to put it out there or not. So I wouldn't think so much about whether it's AI generated. I would think about whether it's good. Something that's useful is deciding which order to put it in. So if you've got something that's super important, make sure it's not kind of buried in the bottom. You could almost put important rules to follow and then give it 5 important rules to follow and put them at the top. You can, I don't know if this is a thing, but you can threaten it with violence. So you can say, if you use an M dash, I will chop your head off, or something like that. I've seen stuff like that work before. Whether that means that when the robots take over, they'll kill you first, I don't know. I can't promise that won't happen. So, or is there an element of, that it's going to do certain things and therefore you're going to edit? So this is a prompt. This is the exact prompt that we use in Coachvox to create emails out of creator stories. And it's long. So this is information about a Coachvox customer who had success with the platform. I want to turn information to a client success story. This is how the output should be displayed. This is how it will be used. This is why. So Claude has all the context. And then I say that it should open with a hook. Then I describe what a hook is. Then I've got a document this is a hook's template. Then I say, look at LinkedIn content because I want it to follow like a kind of LinkedIn post structure. The entire thing should be no more than 200 words. The story should follow the hero's journey. So I've uploaded what the hero's journey looks like and the different components of the hero's journey. So it gives it an arc. It should make their story the readers, give opportunities for connection that make it about them. Think about the story in the context of the ICP's pains. And so what I mean here is my dream customer, they have things that they're struggling with, and I've uploaded a list of those to Claude. I want to get more clients. I want to have more influence online. I don't want to have to sell out. I don't want to that kind of stuff. Transition them to the desirable outcome, which is generating leads and growing their business with an AI version of them via the hero's journey. And then it says, in this way, the product becomes associated with their desirable identity. And then I've got the audience of this article is the person described in our Coachvox ICP. It's describing our ICP and how they think and how they like to process information. And then there's make it into a concise, bite-sized, high dopamine story that people relate to and aspire to. So you've got the psychology of your writing at the same time. Note the banned list, don't use any words in it, make the results hard-hitting, focus on tangible results. This is a tool for lead gen, so that's the priority. And then here's the info, that's where I'd paste in the story. Your prompts should be this detailed. That's just how you get really, really amazing output. If someone was doing this from scratch, they might be like, here's some information that a customer gave me. I want you to make this. And it's like, Claude has no freaking clue. So it's just not going to create anything good from that. How I think about this and how you will be able to think about this as well, because you've got original content, is I want everything to start with my original content. So I want to write this amazing email all by myself, and then I want to say to Claude, tell me the structure of this email, break down the structure of this email. And Claude would say, oh, well, you open with a hook like this, and this part of it was like this. So Claude almost dissects my email and says, this is what it is. And then I use that structure to create the rest. So I don't ever want to create the first version with AI. I want to do mine, and then I want to see how well it can put new information in that structure. When I was doing my GCSEs, we had an anthology, a poetry, texts and things that came from artists and poets and writers, and we would see them all laid out, and then we would have to analyze them. And it's almost like I see that's what Claude is doing to my work. So our work's out there, and now we're saying, take the essence of it, pick out how my brain was working when I wrote that, and then apply that to this new piece of information so it's in the style. Have all of you got the mini course, the one about generating leads to your AI? It's a mini course I recorded, and it's all about how to use ChatGPT or Claude in such a way that it will come out with ways to phrase testimonials on your site. It will help you come up with the value proposition that goes on the top of your AI's page. But you could use this for any lead magnet. You could probably use it for your homepage as well, because it's got prompts. I call it a prompt along. So good to hear. I love that. Yeah, nice. Okay, and keep using that, because you can use it for anytime you have one different belief in your head. Put it in there, get 20 hooks. Do you use Twitter? Could you do the testing them out on Twitter thing? They could be TikTok captions, they could be Instagram captions, they can be any way that you can test them. And to go back, Rachel, to what you were saying about the headlines and using ChatGPT for them, the thing that is inside the mini course, the headlines that it comes out with are going to be ones that take into account the dreams, the fears, strong beliefs and knowledge gaps of your audience member, because that's the thing that's going to mean that the headlines are good. Because if you just use ChatGPT, it's going to come up with all the rubbish, AI generated rubbish. But if you can really speak to a very specific pain, and if you can position yourself as the person who's got the answer, then that's when the headline's really good, and that's when it does speak to people. On the prompts inside the mini course, it will come out with a range of headlines for you. And so what you could do is firstly you could run a poll with these headlines, and you could say which of these speaks to you, which of these challenges speaks to you, and get that. Yeah, that would be really good information. You could run a poll that says something like, which of these have you found yourself saying this week? And then try and get sentences that your ICP would say and get them to vote on it. Everyone should just speak to their customers, because you could read all the business books, but it's just better to speak to your customers. Keep quizzing them constantly, which your AI can also do. I think your starter prompts also tell you quite a lot about how your customers think. Because if you think that's pretty much it, it's 4 sentences, and they're deciding which one most applies to them, and they're voting by clicking on it, and then you get the stats. So it's another way of telling how your language is landing. Just test them, yeah. If you've got 20 out there, you just don't know. I had ones where some of them really took off, and then it worked. The data just was very consistent. If it worked well on Twitter, then it worked well on LinkedIn as a hook, and then you can just move them across and forget the ones that don't work and use the ones that do. How I was seeing it when I was really doing this is I was seeing Twitter as more disposable content, and because you could send out a tweet an hour, but you wouldn't want to send out a LinkedIn post an hour. So I was almost using the Twitter as the disposable, test it, get fast feedback, and then the ones that do well, then use that on LinkedIn, but don't waste a LinkedIn post on something that you're testing. What's it called? TweetDeck, the scheduling one? Yeah, I think all of this is just testing messaging and seeing what lands. But it's all different ways of sharing the message that you already believe. I fundamentally believe that AI coaches will not replace real coaches, but I think that the robots have advantages over us, and it's mainly the round-the-clock availability and it's infinite patience. I do not have infinite patience, but Jodie AI does. But there's going to, of course, be so much more that you would give it based on your years of experience. I think it will get closer and closer. I do think that that we see it all the time. Every time we upgrade our technology, we see that the AIs can do even more, and it gets closer. But honestly, I just see that for our coaches, it's only going to scale them even further and mean that they can make even more impact. It's never a competition. It's always like a double thing. If someone wants to book you all the time so that you can move in with them, fine. But only one person could do that because there's only one of you. But if you can make it so that someone can get 10x the value just because you've got an AI, I see you as teaming up with your AI rather than competing against them. They can get help in between, but you still get the credit because it's your content, and it's all the work that you already did that's now is just working for you because of AI. That's exactly it. The most important thing about that is creating the feedback loop. Get them to tell you what they thought, and then you've got that flywheel going where you can use the testimonials for your AI to put on your website to tell more people about it. Think of your AI as, when kids come home from school and you put their artwork on the fridge because you're so proud of it. It's like that's the idea. It's that's the relationship with it. The idea that it's like, yes, okay, great, you had this experience. Now tell me about it, and then you showcase that in your client screen. That's where you see all that information, every client it's had, all the chats that it's had as well, and the summaries and transcripts of every single chat. And then also you've got the audience challenges that update every single week. You could set stuff up in Zapier so that you get an email every time someone chats to it, for example. One of our coaches called Julia, she gave us a testimonial that was along the lines of, it gets people familiar with my brand of coaching. The idea that if her coaching had a kind of education piece to it, that the AI was doing that education piece. She found that it saved her time on sales calls because rather than someone turning up saying, well, tell me about your work, or tell me about your topic, or tell me why this is important. They already had that. They already had this base level of understanding because they'd spoken to the AI. So you will have a link to your share page. This is almost like a link, kind of a link in bio, and that's a page that you create that looks like a picture of you, your bio, whichever links you want to include on there, your links, and then you could put, there's a space for an image here, and then we would put chat to Jodie AI or chat to your AI, and then that's where you can say what it can help with, so you can fill that out. Your audience would see the name and email address modal there, and then you can also include another image here. So we've got a client of Jodie AI, so this is a testimonial that I have, and then we've also got a disclaimer space. That link is something that you could share directly with your audience. Another way that they could access your AI is inside Embed My AI. You've got these embed codes, and so this is where you could put this on a page on your site, or you could put it as a pop-up so it comes up in the corner. Yeah, you've pretty much got all of the options, but something that you might want to do is use just the link and get your clients to add it to their home screen. So if they opened this link on their phone, you can click on, it kind of looks like a square with a top line in it, and that's when they could click add to home screen, and then your AI will be on their home screen like it was an app. It would mean that you were only ever a click or so away. Sometimes people are like, don't share a link in your main stuff. Sometimes I've shared ones that have done really well with links. The rules don't apply in the same way to everyone. I would test it out. If you're not going for a quantity game, if you're going for a quality game because you want the right people to get through, LinkedIn is going to show the post to people who it matches their interests, and they're the people who you want to speak to your AI. So I would test it first. I love sharing the stories of how people are using it because it inspires other people to do it too. The more I know about how you trained it, what kind of thing you're doing, the more ideas we have, and the more we know about what you want to use it for and which features are important, say, because we build out the platform by talking to you. We hear what's important to you, and that's what we tell our developers to build. We kind of do the feedback flywheel here, but then it also means that we can promote you. So you might have seen on my LinkedIn that I'll say, this coach did this and it was really cool, and here's what the process that they took people through, and then I tag them and then they share it. Everything you said around and how you give that support and how you're going to give this support instead is really good. It's always amazing for us to hear exact numbers. This many people used it in the first week. This is what they said. This is how much time it's saving you a week, a month, everything. That's all really good stuff.